Yes, welcome to the Jamaica Young Police channel. To our loyal viewers, subscribers and Patreon member. At the channel, we are a group of law-abiding citizens who believe in the rule of law and respect the rights of every citizen, but not the ones who do not subscribe to such behavior. We do believe in and support preemptive strikes because they save lives. This is a logical conclusion because preemptive strikes save lives and prevent the further loss of lives. We are all about saving lives at this channel. We at the channel aid criminals with a passion and do not want them over here. We do not want your views, your subscriptions, your likes or your comments. Please go elsewhere where the red carpet is waiting for you. Over here, we want you to go to prison or the departure lounge at Madden. Moving on to today's video. Yes, you know what, the Jamaica Young Police channel. Well, you still to look at the LCD whenever we're starting a new video. And as you can look right there, you see a man out there, you know, above the photograph of Bob Marley. Clear them us up and take life. And the man to the left, that's a man named Fed 'em Up. The man, George Spence, the man, the original killer. So this man who goes by the name of Michael Nathaniel Miller is telling the Jamaica Young Police channel that we don't know what we are saying, that, you know, Rastas are the original rude boy, killers, murderers in Jamaica. So we are just here to correct this man. Yes, so, you know, so if you are, you know, so we're just going to, not only with context, we're going to give you evidence. At the Jamaica Young Police channel, one thing you can count on is the unfiltered truth. No sensationalism, no fluff, just auditing facts. Our mission is clear, to educate and inform. So if you're not learning anything here, then you are in the wrong place. We deal in reality, not narratives designed to comfort or mislead. Today we turn our focus to a man named Michael Nathaniel Miller, who identify as a, we don't know, Rastafarian, or we know so most of them are dread still, because Rasta not there again, because, yeah, dread now, them involved in a coke dealing, them a bowcat, rear admiral, them a killer, and them involved in a gangsterism. And them not have no love in them. So as we discuss extensively, Rastafarianism, once seen as a counter-cultural movement, has long since revealed its darker sides. Many within the movement have morphed into fraudsters, drug dealers, and even cold-blooded killers, angels of death, cloaking spiritual rhetoric. So you can look, you're looking at a man, you're going to see him, Spragga Benz, your man Carlton Grant, agent of death. That man is responsible for countless Jamaican lives in East Kingston, where he's from. So Rastafarianism, as we see today, is more a relic of deception than a beacon of enlightenment. So Mr. Miller has accused us of spreading lies, particularly regarding the deep-rooted connections between Rastafarians who practice Rastafarianism and the emergence of Jamaica's original road boys, dons and gang leaders. So he challenges our assertion that Rastafarian figures play a foundational role in Jamaica's violent criminal underworld. Well, Mr. Miller, today we are going to educate you and anyone else who doubt the historical record. So let's start with one of Jamaica's most iconic figures. Yeah, man, the legendary reggae artist Bob Marley. Marley, often celebrated as a global symbol of peace and unity, was not exempt from the dark alliances that permeated Rastafarian and reggae culture. There are well-documented photographs of Bob Marley sitting alongside two notorious figures, Claudius Massacre and Tech Life. Massa was the leader of the Tivoli Gardens gang, a man with blood on his hands and a trail of destruction behind him. Tech Life, as his name suggests, was another ruthless enforcer known for taking lives without hesitation. So this image isn't just a snapshot of musical camaraderie. It's a glimpse into interconnected world of reggae, Rastafarianism, and organized crime. These alliances weren't accidental. They were a part of a larger network where music, ideology, and violence intersected. Marley's close associations with these men raised questions about the movement's true nature and its complexity in the rise of Jamaica's criminal empire. To deny this history is to ignore the role that certain elements of Rastafarianism play in fostering a culture where crime and violence could thrive under the guise of spiritual rebellion. It's not about tarnishing legacies. It's about unveiling the truth, no matter how uncomfortable it may be. So, Mr. Miller, the next time you accuse us of spreading lies, take a look at the historical record. We are not here to sugarcoat or rewrite history to fit convenient narrative. We are here to shine a light on the truth that others are too afraid to confront. At the Jamaica Young Police Channel, we expose the uncomfortable realities that have shaped our society, and we continue to do so unapologetically. So if you have taken the time to truly read, not merely absorb story passed down through hearsay or filtered through bias lenses, like, you have one liard Rastaman, Muta Baroka, him lie till him buck, you will understand the full gravity of Coral Gardens Massacre. This was not some abstract historical event. It was about a brutal and calculated attack that left a trail of blood and devastation in its wake. 8 people lost their lives, including 2 police officers, while another officer, Constable Campbell, was grievously injured and was bedridden for the rest of his life. His battle for survival continued for decades until his passing in November 2023. He was laid to rest in December 2023 in Trelawny, Jamaica. A solemn reminder of the enduring scars left by that tragic event. The Coral Garden Massacre wasn't a spontaneous outbreak of violence. It was orchestrated by individuals who identify as Rastafarians. The perpetrators, driven by a toxic blend of ideology and criminal intent, launched an attack and sent shockwave across the nation. They ambush, slaughter their victims, and ruthlessly that shook even the most ardent law enforcement officer. They burned down even a gas station. 2 of the killers were eventually captured, brought to justice. Their trial was a pivotal moment in Jamaica's history, as the court meticulously pieced together the evidence to ensure that justice was served. Both men were convicted of murder, a charge that carried the ultimate penalty at the time. They were sentenced to hang, a fate that many believe was necessary consequences for their heinous crime. These individuals were not outliers within their community. The evidence points to the fact that violence that erupted during Coral Gardens was not an isolated incident, but a manifestation of a deeper, more insidious culture. All of the individuals responsible for this massacre were Rastafarians. Far from being peaceful spiritualists, they were often portrayed as these men were violence producers, agents of chaos who clothed their criminality in the guise of religious and ideological rebellion. The massacre highlighted a dark chapter in Jamaica's history, exposing the dangerous intersection of radical ideology and criminal violence. For too long, the narrative surrounding Rastafarianism has been sanitized, focusing solely on its cultural contribution while ignoring the darker elements that have at times fostered violence and lawlessness. Coral Gardens was a stark reminder that beneath the veneer of dreadlocks and spirituality laid individuals capable of committing unspeakable atrocities. To fully understand the impact of the Coral Gardens massacre, one must confront uncomfortable truths about the role Rastafarianism played in this another violent incident. The movement, which began as a counter-cultural response to oppression, gave rise to factions that embraced violence as a means to an end. Those factions terrorized communities, leaving a legacy of fear and bloodshed that linger to this day. Constable Campbell's death in 2023, more than half a century after the massacre, served as a poignant reminder that the wounds inflicted during Coral Gardens were not merely physical, they were emotional and psychological, affecting generations of survivors and their families. His funeral in Trelawny was not just a moment of mourning, but a call to remember and learn from the past. The truth about Coral Gardens is not one that can be erased or softened. It's a stark testament to the destructive potential of unchecked extremism and the importance of confronting history with honesty. At the Jamaica Young Police Channel, we are committed to uncovering and sharing these truths, ensuring that the sacrifice of those who suffered and died are never forgotten. So what, Mr. Miller? I don't know what kind of Rasta man is or dread. I know most of these guys, them are dread, the man are Rasta. So we're just gonna give him some context. So, following the Coral Gardens massacre, Jamaica saw the emergence of culture that would shape its violent underbelly for decades to come. The birth of the rude boy phenomenon. These individuals, often operating under the guise of rebellion or ideological fervor, became synonymous with criminality and violence. Among the early rude boys were Rastafarians, who shed the spiritual veneer to reveal a darker, more sinister side. One of the most infamous figures to emerge from this era was a man named George Spence, better known as Feuds, hailing from the notorious community of Jonestown, Kingston 12, where I was born and raised. In my community, Feuds etched his name into the annals of Jamaica's violent history. He was no ordinary criminal. He was a mass murderer, orchestrating what can only be described as genocides across various communities in Kingston metropolitan area. At one point in time, Feuds and his allies killed over 70 people at Payne Avenue, Tavares Garden, the high-rise building. His reign of terror extended. Also, Kingston Central, or Central Kingston, where he and his equally notorious sidekick, Clifton Blake, alias Burry Boy, left a trail of death and destruction. Feuds and Burry Boy were not merely thugs acting on their own whims. They were political aligned enforcers. It is well documented that their reign of terror was sanctioned by none other than Michael Manley, Jamaica's then Prime Minister. Manley, seeking political dominance in the Kingston metropolitan area, allegedly used these men as tools of intimidation and violence. Their purpose was clear: eliminate opposition and secure political stronghold for the ruling party. And these men, they were operating as if they have immunity. They were operating with impunity as if they have immunity from prosecution. And they were hated by members of the security forces. George Spence's father was an inspector of police. Yes, Inspector Spence. He was the one that's in charge of first aid. So their purpose was clear. Yeah, man, kill anything when no PNP. To honor this unholy alliance, they carry out executions and massacre that would forever scar communities. So you know how many lives this Rasta man take. So the notoriety of Fed 'em Up and Burry Boy reached its zenith when they were invited on an official government trip to Cuba, led by Prime Minister Michael Manley. So this was a man who was the Prime Minister of Jamaica. These are men that he used to put on the stage when time in a campaign and big them up, just like how you see at the National Arena the other year, you see Vibes Cartel, a known killer, Stammat Courtney Samuels, aka Stammatera, Isaac Buchanan, the drugs deal, the twice convicted court dealer. This is how Michael Manley used to parade these men. Burry Boy and Fed 'em Up are from my community of Jonestown. That's what I will call it, the belly of the beast. Because that's where criminality, the birth of criminality. So Michael Manley took these men on a government trip to Cuba. So this trip intended to solidify Jamaica's diplomatic ties with Fidel Castro's regime became infamous for an incident that would mark the beginning of Fed 'em Up's downfall. At a formal dinner where pork, a staple of Cuban cuisine, was served. Fed 'em Up, a staunch Rastafarian who abstained from eating pork, made a scene that shocked the entire entourage. In front of Cuban hosts and President Fidel Castro himself, Fed 'em Up kicked over the table in protest and act of defiance that humiliated Michael Manley and strained the diplomatic relations. So Fidel Castro asked Michael Manley, what kind of man that? I'm for disrespect you and them thing there. So Manley have to make an excuse and say, boy, I'm not eat pork. So Castro said, you should have let me know, so we could have make him go somewhere else, inside of the building. You're not supposed to be right there. You in charge of him. Michael said, we'll take care of him, man, because I'm gone outside. Upset. Say, boy, them diss him, because I want if you diss Rasta. So upon his return to Jamaica, Fed 'em Up, fate was sealed. He had not only outlived his usefulness, but had become a liability. Shortly after, in return to Jamaica, he was assassinated in a bar in downtown Kingston. The hit, allegedly carried out by a Cuban agent, was a calculated move to eliminate the man who had become too dangerous and unpredictable. So Burry Boy, on the other hand, met his end at the hands of a young man from Tivoli Gardens, a rival community, whilst driving his car. Burry Boy was ambushed and killed in a retaliatory attack, signaling the end of an era dominated by these two notorious figures. Fed 'em Up and Burry Boy represent the violent legacy birthed in the aftermath of the Coral Gardens massacre. They were not mere criminals, they were politically empowered agents of terror, operating in a system where violence was currency for political gain. Their story is a chilling reminder of how easily ideology and power can be weaponized to devastating effect. At the Jamaica Young Police Channel, our commitment is to uncover the unvarnished truth behind Jamaica's dark history. These figures, once seen as enforcers of political will, are now exposed as architects of mass murder, undertaking the impact of crucial to addressing the systemic root of violence that plague our nation. So when a guy talk about say Rasta was peaceful, just hope you get that. Rasta and a peace, they're my original road boy and the debt merchants in Jamaica. Fed 'em Up come from my community. The belly of the beast. The belly of the beast is Jonestown. That is where crime was birthed. Yeah, man, that's how a baby born. So that's why I would tell us, say, we are from the belly of the beast. Yeah, that's how we mean, because that's how we from. We are from the belly of the beast. Yeah, man, that's a birth of criminality in Jamaica. So, as we continue the journey. Yeah, so whether or not you want to believe it, Jamaica is a criminal's paradise, As we stated at the Jamaica Young Police Channel, it has been long viewed as a paradise a tropical haven for tourists seeking sun, and vibrant culture. However, beneath the idyllic surface lies a darker reality. Jamaica is also a paradise of criminals. We are telling that. Most people are going to tell you that. This harsh truth is reflected in the island's high crime rate, pervasive gang culture, and a justice system that struggles to hold offenders accountable. You know, so we have a corrupt justice system in Jamaica. You judge them on the take, corrupt on them you can't find. Brian Lego Sykes is the main architect guide, yeah man. So the environment has become so conducive to lawlessness that it appears to breed criminals as naturally and prolifically as chinks or bedbug in a neglected room. So them just spread. Jamaica criminal landscape is not an accident. It's a result of decades of socio-political neglect, corruption, and a culture that often glorify violence. The roots of this problem run deep, tracing back to the country's colonial past and post-independence struggles. Economic inequality, limited opportunity for upward mobility, and systemic corruption have created a fertile breeding ground for criminals' enterprise. Then you have this dependency, laziness, bad mind, jealousy, covetous. Them hate reading, them say read education a white man thing. So everything them tell you, I was told. Politicians have historically aligned themselves with criminal factions, using them as enforcers to secure political dominance in key areas. So most of the people them live in a ghetto, they are hostages. Yeah man, them live like hostages. Them can determine how to live them life because of these people. These criminals have been rewarded with protection and impunity, allowing their influence to go unchecked. So those of you who are from Jamaica remember the Klansman gang back that is in Jamaica right now. It started from the 1990s when the PMP LGBTQ plus criminal organization was the government of the day. They gave Jamaica this gang that killed hundreds of Jamaicans, maybe thousands. So the infamous garrison communities where political loyalty and criminal activities go hand in hand are a stark example of this unholy alliance. So it comes to a culture of impunity. And these people behave as if they have immunity from prosecution. So one of the key factors that makes Jamaica haven for criminals is the pervasive culture of impunity. Many perpetrators of violent crimes operate with little fear of prosecution. Witnesses' intimidation is rampant, and the informal fidel culture ensure that even those who want to see justice served remain silent out of fear for their lives. How people live like that. And then you have a political party that supports it, the PMP, LGBTQ plus criminal organization. This silence allows criminals, networks to thrive as they know the likelihood of facing legal consequences is minimal. Additionally, corruption within the police force and the judiciary further compounds the problem. Some law enforcement officials have been known to collude with criminals, either turning a blind eye to their activities or actively participating in them. This breakdown in trust between the public and the police only serve to embolden criminals, reinforcing the perception that crime pays. So the role of organized crime. Jamaica is a home to some of the most sophisticated and violent criminal organizations in the Caribbean. These gangs, often tied to international drug trafficking and arms smuggling, operating with a level of organization and brutality that rival any global criminal network. They control entire neighborhoods, extort businesses, and settle disputes with extreme violence. These gangs are not just menace to their immediate communities. They have a significant impact on Jamaica's economy and international reputation. The constant threat of violence discourages investment and tourism, two of the island's main economic pillars. The cycle of crime and poverty feed itself, making it increasingly difficult to break. The normalization of criminality through the music. Over time, criminal behavior has become normalized in certain segments of Jamaican society. The glorification of rude boys, tans and gangsters in music and popular culture perpetuates a narrative that equates violence with power and respect. Dancehall music, while a vibrant and important cultural expression, often contain lyrics that celebrate criminal exploits and promote a defiant attitude toward law enforcement. This cultural glorification has a profound impact on young, impressionable minds. For many, the path to becoming a Don or a top-ranking gang members seems more attainable and more rewarding than pursuing legitimate employment or education. So you don't know where we come from, you know. Yeah, man, them say education a white man thing. And because them they have no clue about history to know that reading, education start from Timbuktu in Africa. Our ancestors used to educate the Europeans until them thief everything and claim it as theirs. So the result is a vicious cycle where each generation produces new wave of criminals who see crime not just as necessary, but as a viable lifestyle choice. The way forward, breaking the cycle requires a multifaceted approach. First and foremost, there must be genuine commitment to reforming the justice system. Law enforcement agencies need better resources, training, and oversight to operate effectively and ethically. Witness protection programs must be strengthened to encourage citizens to come forward without fear of retribution. Education and economic opportunity are also critical. Most of the Jamaican youths, them shun education because them say a white man thing. But them rather, when them come to America, England or Canada, forgot a white man prison. When the white man tell them when them can't sleep, when them can't bathe, and when them can't exercise. Education and economic opportunity are also crucial. So many young people turn to crime, and it's not out of desperation. Them choose this way to survive or succeed, and them feel by creating a name on the street for themselves will put them up on a pedestal, revere, lauded, and celebrate as some heroes. So everyone wants to be a Don, a gangster, like Christopher Cook. So some people believe that education a white man thing. But we can tell you that by investing in education, vocational training, and job creation, the government has provided alternatives that steer vulnerable individuals away from a life of crime. This government, we see them pay people for go to school when they were me yet. So there needs to be a cultural shift. Communities, artists and influencers must take an active role in challenging the glorification of violence, promoting positive role models and highlighting the benefits of lawful living can help reshape the narrative and inspire a new generation to reject the allure of criminality. So I see me, as a man born and growing in a belly of beast, you're not going to see me as a role model to the youths them there, because guess what? I not murder nobody. I not murder people. I not commit crime. I never got jailed. So that's not something when I am not the kind of person where they want to embrace. Jamaica's reputation as a criminal's paradise is a sobering reality that must be confronted head on. The island's natural beauty and rich culture should not be overshadowed by the violence and lawlessness that have plagued its communities for far too long. By addressing the root causes of crime and fostering a culture of accountability and opportunity, Jamaica can begin to shed this dark label and build a safe, more prosperous and future for all its citizens, where people can live, work, and grow them family. So as you know, Bob Marley is a man who has been celebrated worldwide as a symbol of peace and unity. And him have complex relationships with individuals deeply embedded in Jamaica's violent underworld. Among his close associates were two notorious figures, Claudius Massacre and Tech Life. Both men were not only Rastafarians, but are also well-known killers who terrorize communities. They thrive in an environment where fear and intimidation silence witnesses, allowing them to escape justice time and time again. Claudius Massacre, in particular, was a figure of infamy. He was a leader in Tivoli Gardens community wielding power through violence and coercion. His reign came to a dramatic end when he was shot and killed along an industrial terrace near Tivoli Gardens. The man responsible for his death was Dadrick Henry, a courageous officer who confronted the violent elements within Kingston criminal ecosystem. Detective Henry, who passed away earlier this year, played a critical role in dismantling the aura of invincibility that surrounded figures like Massacre. But Massacre and Tech Life were not anomalies. They were products of a broader culture deeply rooted in violence, one that dates back to the early days of Rastafarian movement. While Rasta ideology preached unity and spiritual awakening, it's also harbored elements that contributed to the rise in organized crime. Rastafarians were among the first to take on the mantle of Rude Boy, the original gangsters Don, Badman, who would later evolve into Dons and gang leaders. These individuals not only committed violent acts, but also established the framework for Jamaica's criminal enterprise. So take, for instance, Bunny Weezy from Tower Hill, Kingston 11, a ruthless killer. He was known for his cool-hearted method, a Rastaman leaving a trail of devastation in his wake. Another notorious figure was Natty Chris from Concrete Jungle, Kingston 12. Like Bunny Weezy, Natty Chris was a Rasta whose reputation was built on fear and bloodshed. These men were emblematic of the darker side of Rastafarianism, where spiritual rhetoric masked a penchant for violence and control. The influence of these individuals were not confined to their immediate surroundings. It permeated Jamaican society, shaping the nation's criminals landscape. They used their Rasta identity as a shield, blending their violent actions with a cultural and spiritual legitimacy that Rastafarianism afforded. This duality allowed them to operate with impunity, as if they have immunity, as many were reluctant to speak out against individuals who were both revered and feared. You lose your life if you're in Jamaica, or if you talk up against the Rasta man, bad man. If you're dead, inform of you're dead. For those who lack an understanding of Jamaica's history, particularly the origin of its criminal culture, it's crucial to approach this topic with caution. Making uninformed statements only perpetuate ignorance. The reality is clear. Rastafarians played a foundational role in the rise of criminality in Jamaica. They were the only road boys, the first dons and gang leader, who set the stage for the pervasive violence that continued to plague the nation. They are the original killers. You can't take that from them. At the Jamaica Young Police Channel, our mission is to expose these uncomfortable truths. If you truly want to understand the roots of Jamaica's crime problem, you must be willing to confront the historical realities, no matter how unsettling they may be. Knowledge is power, and understanding the past is the first step toward breaking the cycle of violence. Don't just rely on what people tell you. Read. Read, read, read. Knowledge is power. Have yourself a beautiful day. Jamaica Young Police Channel out.